This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
Before we get started with the show, gotta tell you about our latest sponsor, Quiktract. Quiktract is the first of its kind, an easy-to-use mobile app that allows anyone to create contracts for anything in 60 seconds or less. Quiktract is exactly what it says, quick. They let you request amendments if the job changes along the way, the ability to get paid upon completion of the job, and a full freelance directory to advertise your own work. I personally love Quiktract for so many reasons. In today's world, it seems like everybody has a side hustle. With Quiktract, you can make sure that you stay on top of your work and get paid on time. Make sure everything is official and be protected for your work. Download the free Quiktract app today in the App Store or on Google Play. That's Quiktract, Quiktract.
Football, it's a great platform. You're one of the chosen few that's there. But let's start putting a plan together right now so when it's all said and done, you're not one of those people that are lost or, like, are sitting around like, hey, like, so what's next?
Episode 4 already of After Orange Slices. A couple huge announcements to make. First, we've got an awesome new sponsor, Quiktract, which I'm going to be telling you more about later because we've got their executive vice president and partner, Blake Stanton, on the show today. He is today's guest. He's a former Oregon football player. He went with the Ducks to 3 BCS bowl games, including the National Championship in 2011, the Rose Bowl in 2012, and what should have been the National Championship in 2013, but we all know why that didn't happen. Fiesta Bowl in 2013. But he's going to be telling us a little bit more about this life-changing app. I love it. You'll love it too. Plus, this podcast is now a member of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Super excited to be a part of it. Oh, and big bonus episode today. Lauren's calling in from Germany. We're going to break down today's topics. What's going on in the NFL today, Andrew Luck's retirement, the head case that is the helmet fiasco, and just general health in the league, especially with Rob Gronkowski coming out with a little bit more about his reasons for retirement this week. So stay tuned for the bonus minisode. After this one, of course, remember to subscribe so that you get notified for the bonus minisode of Fresh Squeeze because that airs every Friday afternoon. So you've got episode 1 to get you through morning traffic on the way to work, and then you've got the bonus minisode to get you home. We've got you covered. Very excited for the Ducks to take on Auburn this weekend. And yeah, we just got a lot of stuff to break down. All right, let's get to it. Thanks for joining me. I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me. I heard so much good things about it. What you're doing is amazing, so I'm glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, you're just saying that. You probably haven't even heard it yet, but that's okay.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, you are doing something huge right now. Obviously, you're a college football player, but you have taken your experience with people, with sports, with now tech to a whole new level. And you're working with this app I want to know more about. It's called Quiktract. Just tell me a little bit about the app and how you got into it.
It's funny. It goes back to high school, good old Crespi days. We were teammates, and we were classmates. Crespi is a small total students. It's like 400 students when we were there. So each class was like 100 kids, and everybody knew each other. So we built special bonds there, and one being with our, somebody who started the company, Cole Midkiff. Like I said, we built a bond at a very young age, and we maintained that bond throughout high school, throughout college, and post college. So he came up with an idea because he was he was a freelancer himself. He was in the space doing work, providing for himself, and him and his buddies kept getting screwed out of deals. So he had a pivot, like, it had to be something to stop this from happening. It has to be something out there. So what's his drawing board, and that's how the evolution of Quiktract came to play.
So what is Quiktract?
So we launched 4 months ago, and it's an app by the name of Quiktract, like you just said, that it streamlines the independent contractors and service providers transaction business where they can go out and do business on their own. When you think about it, think like of a TaskRabbit meets Venmo. So Quiktract is a platform that allows you to create a contract, amend a contract, and get paid all in one app. Being in where we are today in a society, we're on our phones 24/7. I know I'm guilty of it, where a lot of things are done on the fly. So Quiktract gives you that option and gives you the ability to create a contract on the fly. We know scope of business or things change, and verbally, we have all been in a situation where we've been told, "Yeah, I got you," or just send it over to me and I'll make it happen. So Quiktract allows you to be official and hold everybody accountable to what they said they're going to do.
So many athletes, especially in the professional atmosphere, they're signing contracts every day, whether it actually has to do with their sport
Yeah.
or it's outside and it's something that they're doing on the business front. So how would they be able to use your app?
It's funny you harp on that. So I actually wrote a blog about this not too long ago, about a month ago. I got some heat from it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, being that what I was doing when I got out of college was the agency side, the management, the marketing side, the representation side of athletes. In my fair share of things, I think that athletes are more than capable of handling our own business. So the article, that the blog I wrote, was primarily saying that a good agent is definitely needed, which I still agree to this day that it's definitely needed. But in some things that the day to day, you don't need an agent taking the fee off doing something that you're more than capable of doing.
Right. Do you have any examples of past problems that you feel like Quiktrack could have solved?
In the athlete world, and you see it all the time where, people that are around you, you bring them on board to do a certain job or to manage your day to day. And you pay them out, but like nothing's official because that's your friend. So you don't want to overbear them with like a 20-page contract, or like total opposite. You don't want to have nothing in place where it's just like, okay, you do this and I'll take care of you. So you see it all the time where like, if Quiktract was around like years ago or like even a year ago, where athletes have the ability to put that family member, put that best friend under a Quiktract, where it's like it's not heavy-handed. When we think of contracts, we think it's supposed to be a 20-page document written by a lawyer, but in reality, it's supposed to outline like a few different things. So like saying, it's having something in place, like a Quiktract in place where it say, hey, you do this on a daily basis. You get paid. This is how you get paid. When you're getting paid. The details that pertain that agreement, and that's it. It's mobilized. We see it on our phone. Both sides get the PDF version. So it's just simplifying the whole process for everybody. Our target audience are the freelance community, people that are in the gig economy, and people out there who's working, to provide for themselves and their families. So that's our biggest target audience.
People used to sign, or still sometimes do, sign the contracts on a paper napkin, or or on your hand. Like those quick, casual things.
Exactly, and that's binding in the court of law. So we wanted to take that into the next level, where it's everything is official, everything is neat, everything aesthetically is set up where it's no confusion. It's seamless, and it's just right there. It's just super simple, and like you go on about your day and knowing that you be protected for the work that you do.
Well, and you entered the sports agency industry right after college. On the legal front, what did you observe in your experience in the industry?
Football, it's a great platform. You're one of the chosen few that's there. But let's start putting a plan together right now, so when it's all said and done, you're not one of those people that are lost or like that are sitting around like, hey, like, so what's next? Like, and those people that tend, to go out and get in trouble or do things that make the headlines. A lot of these football players, even if they play 8 years, 10 years in the league, they're still 40 years old. They still have a lot of life to live. So why not, maximize the shield, NFL, the shield while you can.
Yeah, well, most of your life you're not playing.
Exactly. Majority of your life you're not playing sports. So if you have a plan in place where you're passionate about it and you love what you're doing, it makes that transition so much easier.
Mm-hmm. When did you realize that you wanted to get into the business side? You had a long time to think about it. When did that really click for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, it clicked during my sophomore year. For some reason, like I seen Jerry Maguire, and like I just seen being around athletes and family, friends that are athletes, and just seeing how how the business manager, how the agents go about doing business. Also, I told myself I wanted to be in their shoes one day. So I knew that, like I said, my sophomore year, and I set out to to do things possible to make that happen. I attended events and conferences, and just really just going out there and putting myself out there to to get in those rooms with the people that are where I want to be in life, moving forward. And in the long run, it paid off. Like I said, I learned a lot, and I gained a lot of knowledge on the way that I still use
Yeah,
today.
definitely. You decided to forego your 5th year there. Why? Why pick your future over football?
Yeah, it was a tough decision. Like, stay at Oregon for another year, have fun, party, or just really dive in it into that whole workforce. So somebody always told me that you can never overvalue just getting that hands-on approach, getting that experience. So I always had that in the back of my mind. So like when I had the opportunity to graduate, I was like, I really want to just jump into it. I have my I have my great 4 years at Oregon, and I'm just ready to get to it. So from there, I got an internship with the sports agency that were based out of Texas, but they had an LA presence.
Did you ever feel that when you made that transition, you lost part of who you were or had trouble reestablishing your identity?
It it was it wasn't a hard transition. It was kind of easy to me. Because I was out there meeting people, networking, and just really just out there trying to build new relationships. When I had the opportunity to join Select Sports Group at the time under very 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 talented agent Sean Kiernan, I learned so much that I didn't know. But the transition wasn't as hard because I built that relationship before I graduated.
But you were very unique as an athlete, though, because you branched out beyond your teammates. You were very friendly with people all over school. You knew a lot of people, and it was almost as if you were networking and friendships, not purposefully, but you live your life in that way, the same way that you think business wise.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Like I like you might know, like through college, I was like, hey, let me just be the guy who knows everybody. So like it helped that I had the best of both worlds. My girlfriend was the president of her sorority. Let me be that guy who can bridge it between the Greek life and the sports, and just everybody come together as one. And like, hey, we're all human, and we're all here for a good time, and we're all trying to learn and grow. And at the end of it, I gained a lot of promising relationships, friendships that I still value to this day, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot rather than just being an athlete. I know that's easier said than done, but in reality, I just really just put on the hat and just hey, let me just be that guy, and that's what I set out to be. And I mean, it worked for me. It worked for me, and like I said, that's one thing that I do look back at Oregon and say wow, you did something great. So
Yeah. Well, and it seems like this is something you're preparing for all your life. You were a driven kid. You were almost a multitasker in college and growing up. You had all of these different things going on. Were you raised that way to have that mentality?
yes, I was. I was always driven. I was always eager to learn stuff. But at times, I mean, I was that that immature kid. I was an athlete. I thought sports was I was going to be the next Michael Jordan at the time. But in reality, my mom and my support staff, my family dynamics, the people I had in my corner always always wanted what's best for me. Always wanted me to see outside the box. And growing up, I had people in my corner that, like I said, my mom, my other mom, my dad, and they always ingrained to me that that sports can take you so far, but what are you going to do after that? So I always lived with that kind of. I don't know if it hindered me to be the best sports guy I could be, the best athlete I could be, but I always had that in the back of my mind, hey, sports is sports is using you. You might as well get what you can out of that while you have the time. Like I said, while I was at Oregon, it allowed me to to maneuver and to reach out to people in alumni, and my fellow alumni. So to talk to certain people that like regular students didn't have that that opportunity to. So like I used that to my best ability, and like I said, like I just learned. I was eager to learn and to better myself and to see like what else is out there.
So let's talk about Oregon. First off, you're a SoCal kid, grew up in LA. Why Oregon?
It's funny at the time. Um, my best friends Hronis Grasu and Brian Bennett was getting heavily recruited by Oregon. And one morning, Scott Frost, who is ironically uh, my 4 years at Oregon, he was my wide receivers coach. He came and watched Hronis and Brian work out. And I just jumped in the workout and I told him who I was and what I was doing. And he's like, yeah, come visit. And I went up and visited, and like I just instantly fell in love with it. The culture was different. It was something I never experienced. I never experienced before. The people were just so nice and genuine. It wasn't too far, and it gave me the opportunity to to form who I was becoming, without having my family in my and I just like being complacent and just being comfortable. It made me like really just figure out who I was and who I was becoming. And at the time, my brother it was going to SC, and it was like, okay, you're going to SC, I'll go to Oregon. We have a little Pac-12 rivalry, so it was great at the time. Every time we played each other, it was big bets on the line, and really a divided household, which was great.
Any huge memorable moments that really stuck out to you from your college experience on the field?
It was so many. As you know, our 4 or 5 years there, it was amazing. My first year there, just the ability, we went to the national championship and played Auburn. That was just like an eye opener. Like first year in college, and we're going to the national championship. It's just like, wow, this is amazing. So that has to be one of my biggest on the field moments, which is being in that environment in Arizona and just watching two great teams battle it out.
When did you initially find football?
It's funny. So basketball was my first sport. I've been playing basketball.
Okay, was that your first love?
First love, first sports. Been playing that, for years.
So is that why you loved your shoes?
Exactly. I knew everything about it. Still do. I mean, basketball's still my first sport. And so my friend, it's funny, like my best friend, actually I call him my brother, Lucky, he was a big football guy. So he was a football, his family was a football family. All his brothers played football, and we met in middle school, and we just hit it off. And he was like, "Hey, I'm about to, I'm about to go try for this team. You got to come out there." And at the time, my mom was like, "No, you're not playing football. Like, it's too dangerous. I'm not letting you play football. Like, I can't do it." And then I made Lucky like ask my mom like, "Can Blake come try out for the team?" Her initial reaction was no, absolutely not. But as time went on, he finally cracked her, and she allowed me to go out and play football. Never really watched it, but like I said, he was involved in me. He wanted to play, so I was like, yeah, let's do it. I'm an athlete. I'll figure it out. So I figured it out. What was it, seventh grade? Seventh grade, my first time playing football, and then from there, I just like fell in love with it.
You were playing tackle.
Yes, playing tackle. Yeah, that's my first. I skipped the whole flag football stage. I went straight into just the tackle scene. So I fell in love with it. I was good at it. So like oh, like this is amazing. So at that time, seventh, eighth grade, and even in high school, I was playing both sports. I was playing basketball and football.
Would you let your kid play tackle at a super young age, like 6 years old? What do you think about all that now with all the research that is out?
Great question. Great question. Wow. I never really thought about it, but I feel like if he wants to play football, like I will let him play football. Him or her, like take that, him or her. So I'll let him play football if they love it and they want to experience it. I won't be not good. I won't be that dad that forces my daughter or my son to play a sport because I played it. I want them to do what they love to do. So like I said, it probably had to be like a game time decision, but like I said, if they loved it, I'll let them experience it. Yeah, I think everybody has to have the option to experience something once. If they like it, go for it. Especially with our technology nowadays in NFL, and everybody's aware of what can happen if if you play football for a certain period of time. So I think our technology would advance when that time does come where my son or daughter wants to play football.
The conversation continues in a minute, but first, more about Quiktract, the guys who are making this episode happen. Quiktract is the total freelance solution to connect, agree, and get paid. I use it in my everyday life for everything I need. With plug-and-play templates, Quiktract is the simple solution to getting things in writing without the heavy-handedness that comes along with traditional contracts or any of the stuff you just don't understand. Whether you're a personal trainer, graphic designer, or someone making money on the side, Quiktract is the right solution for you. It's available everywhere from the App Store and Google Play, so make sure you download this game-changing app today for free. That's Quiktract, Quiktract, Quiktract. Yeah, what do you think about the whole, helmet controversy that we're especially focused on right now? I mean, Antonio Brown has got everybody all over it. I feel like there's a lot of guys that don't want to wear the new helmets and are super concerned about that.
But the question I throw back at you is why? I mean, the reason why Antonio Brown is not wearing the new helmets because it doesn't look good. But tests proven that they're safer. They're safer, and they prevent concussion. So, like I said, I throw that question back at you. So, what do you think? I mean, my thought about it is like, hey, if this is going to cost me, if this is going to save me for concussions and having like serious injuries that is going to affect me down the road, why wouldn't I wear it?
But even Tom Brady, I feel like, was one of the guys who was a little bit iffy about it and didn't want to wear it. I mean, he's never one of those guys that who would just be like, oh no, I'm not going to play this year, so if I can't wear, my normal helmet. But there are guys who are not in the trenches. Maybe they really aren't taking
Very
into
true.
account
No, I totally agree with that.
severe immediate effects as some of the guys who are in it 24/7. Do you agree with that?
But hey, like they do have a motto up there. Hey, if you look good, you play good. So I guess, and Antonio Brown's defense, if it doesn't look good, he won't play good.
Right. Totally. Totally. Absolutely. I get it. I mean, I'm like, if I don't look good, I'm just not going to go outside today.
Exactly.
I get that. That kind of relates all back to a lot of young players who are retiring early because of the research that has gotten out there with injuries, most importantly, brain injuries, but even other severe ailments that people have suffered from, especially this week. Andrew Luck coming out with the big whopper, and Colts fans especially going insane. I am so disappointed in our NFL fan base for not backing him and understanding that it's his decision and being so disappointed in him. And he's played like 7 years, even though he hasn't been a healthy 7-year player. That's still a decent career. That's more than I feel like. I feel like the average career is like 3 years in the NFL. Like, it's short. And people feel like they can just oust their opinion out to the world. It's mostly because of social media. And think that, oh, okay, if this guy doesn't want to rehab and it's too hard, well, I'm just going to boo him and I'm just not going to be a Colts fan or whatever. But it's sad. What do you think about that?
No, absolutely. And I think it goes back to the whole mental healthness, mental awareness approach. Basketball figured it out. You got advocates like Kevin Love, like DeMar DeRozan, who are advocates for mental health awareness. Football, I mean, I don't know what it is, but people see football players as these macho men that that don't have mental breakdowns. But in reality, if you're not happy within, if it doesn't make you happy, it will cause you, to have that mental blockage. And a lot of people like that are in the football world, NFLs, they don't really have an advocate to speak on mental health. And that's one thing that I think that Andrew Luck was battling. He just said like he got it, it wasn't fun, or he wasn't happy, or it wasn't the same. And that goes back to him being happy within. And I think that's a big approach and something that the NFL has to figure out. Because, like I said, these people, they're human too. These athletes are human too, and they go through stuff just like your average person or everyday person. They're not superhumans. A lot of people see that and see them as that. And I mean, some are in a sense, but they have feelings too. They have emotions, and they go through stuff on a day-to-day basis where your average person can't even imagine going through. Andrew Luck is dealing with his injuries, probably family stuff, monetary, even though he signed a big contract, he doesn't have to deal with that. But like stuff that comes from having a big contract or having so much money, where it's just like I don't know what to do because I've always been an athlete my whole life, So it's just figuring out that approach. I think it's be major for the NFL.
That's brave, though. You have to re-identify yourself.
Very true, very true. But at the end of the day, like I said, we're all human. And like I said, like Andrew Luck, I think it wasn't as. I mean, it probably was physical, but I think it was more mental than anything.
It's funny you mentioned Kevin Love because you know him well, and I just saw that I think it was last week or something. He was down at UCLA, doing research or something with a new program or something with mental illness, and I heard him on CJ McCollum's podcast, talking about his experience, which I know he's been a lot more open about in the last year or so. But I think it's fascinating because like he's one of those guys where so many people were on top of him, about like his personality or who he was and things like that until he really started to open up. And I feel like that's something that we're not really harnessing yet in the NFL and those players. And I don't know if it's a league problem or if it's just a fan base stigmatism problem. Do you see that? And I mean, do you especially see that with your relationship with Kevin?
Yeah, it's funny. So it's funny. We never really had that conversation about it, but just hearing some of the things and like just briefly discussing like him coming out and just saying like I had a mental breakdown. It was able to like he had that monkey off his back. Like he was able to to really just talk about it because the way people saw him from there, just like okay, like you're human. Like you go through stuff just like we go through stuff, and it allowed other NBA guys to come out and say like I'm going through stuff too, or like I've been through stuff in my lifetime too, where it's just like I won't say he, but like the NBA made it a mission to bring awareness to that certain issue. And you see,
right, and they have psychologists on every team, I think now.
Yeah,
right?
because of that, because that conversation was had, or that stigma was broken down, that that athletes go through stuff. So, like I said, they're making the right steps and making the right push for to be for mental health and advocates where like it's okay to to be going through stuff. And like I said, you said Kevin Love Day. I mean Kevin Love, and he has. I don't know if what like the parameters are, but in Oregon, like you can have like a mental health day. Like high school students have a mental health day where you're just like, they. I thought it was really special and something unique, and that's bringing a lot of attention to to the awareness.
I even think about that because mental health is something that I really struggle with, and I wish that was more aware while I was growing up. While I know those resources were in Oregon. But I don't know if you agree with me. I almost felt like, if you used them, again, that's stigmatism, or you felt like somebody was going to talk to your coach about it, or something like that.
Upon.
Right? Frowned upon, exactly.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Like I said, like I said, especially for football players, it's just like, hey, like I'm out here, I'm hitting people, like I'm getting hit, like I'm buff, I work out. Like I don't go through stuff. Like I never go through stuff because like in reality, we all go through stuff. And like I said, as soon as like one football player comes out and really just say like he's battling like certain things, now I think it'll make it easier for other football players to do the same.
I know it's really breaking down that stereotype because we put way too much pressure on each other. And I really hope that that's something that we can accomplish in the next couple of years, whether it's high school athletes, college, or pro. I mean, we really need to work on it. And that's kind of what my podcast is about, is finding those resources and finding those solutions into all those different problems.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I love what you're doing. You didn't believe me, but I do love what you're doing. And it's it's just bringing awareness to life after football, life after sports. We, like you said, you brought the question of losing identity or finding identity. A lot of people are in that boat where they struggle to find out who they are because they identify as a football player or a basketball player, and that's all they really know. So it's hard for them to adjust or pivot from being that. But as soon as you make that step to finding out what your interests are, like what are you passionate about, it makes things a lot easier.
Okay, so switching gears back to the Ducks this weekend. Huge rematch of the 2011 National Championship. You and I were both there. I was cheering and you were suited up. Obviously, that did not go our way. So tomorrow is the revenge matchup. They're much less dangerous without Cam Newton on the field, but you never know. What are your expectations?
Oh, the Ducks are taking it.
Yeah.
And Herbert's going to, enhance his chance of, that Heisman Trophy. So we can have,
Oh, yeah.
two Heisman Trophy winners in, in the last, 3-4 years. So I'm not complaining. That's just my bold predictions. Right
There's so many good quarterbacks in the league, though, right now that he kind of gets overshadowed. I mean, yeah, of course, he gets his little Sports Illustrated cover, but there's, so many good fresh guys at Alabama and Clemson. You got Tua and Trevor, and there's a lot of hype around the country.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that football season is back, to tell you the truth. That's one thing I do miss is sometimes when I'm just sitting or watching, I'm like, dang, I just miss that team atmosphere. Just miss being around the team, the grass, joking around with my teammates, and just having the fun. Just that whole team dynamic, and just that whole approach. But I love that football season's back, and I can't wait to watch them play this week.
Well, thanks so much, Blake. It's been awesome having you. I hope that Quiktract just takes off on a quick track, and then we can have you back and kind of update everybody on how the app is going.
Absolutely. Let's make it happen.
Don't go anywhere. There's a bonus mini-sode coming up next with my friend Lauren. We're breaking down all of today's topics, everything going on in the NFL right now. Make sure to subscribe, like, rate, give us 5 stars, all that stuff. Go and do it now. Let's keep this show going. Let's start climbing the charts.